Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about like my college acceptance process and just some tips and advice that I have for any of you who are starting to apply for college and different things like that. It is the first week of July and I am starting my back to school series, if you will, just because I want to post a back to school video every week up until school starts for me, and I start school August 21st. So I want to post a back to school video every week up until then. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and let's just hop right into it. Okay, so the first thing that I kind of want to talk about is kind of my college acceptance experience. So I started applying to colleges my first semester of senior year, and I was in AP classes, but you can always send your scores in later once you take the exam. So if that's something that you guys were worrying about, once you take the AP exams, you can send them to any school that you like. So even if you've already gotten accepted, you can send them in later. But yeah, so I started applying to schools first semester of my senior year, and I did kind of want to go out of state, but you know, the cost was kind of in, and I did have two other brothers going into college at the same time, so I decided to just apply for schools that were in state. So I applied, I want to say, to about 5 or 6 schools, and I got into all of them except for one. And most of the schools that I got into, they are pretty, you know, they were pretty good schools. They were on the pricier side, but you know, they were really good schools. So I was fortunate enough to have my mom kind of help me with the whole process. She helped me with the applications and you know, things like that. So I didn't have to do it all on my own. So I did have help. But I got, like I said, I got into all of the schools that I applied to except for one. And the way that I kind of chose the school that I'm at now is, one, because of the program, and two, because all of the other schools, so 4 of the other schools that I applied to wanted me to come in basically as an undeclared major. And if you guys watched my why I chose psychology video, if not, I will put it up in the cards, but I talked about how by that time I was applying to schools I knew what I wanted to do. And the reason why they wanted me to go in undeclared is because that program was full. So I'm guessing they only let a certain amount of people into the program per year. And when I was applying and when I was going to go, that program was already full. And I did want to go in undeclared just because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So those were the reasons why I ruled out those other schools. And they were really good, amazing schools. And so was the school that I'm at now. But I knew I didn't want to go in undeclared because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So that was the main reason why I chose the school that I'm at now. So yeah, my college acceptance process wasn't really, you know, fancy or anything. I know a lot of people who apply to like a ton of colleges and everything, and so their college acceptance is a little bit more exciting, but mine really isn't exciting. I only applied to about 5 schools and they were all in state. And I basically chose the school that I'm at because they were the only ones who would allow me into, whose program wasn't full, basically. So some tips that I have in terms of college acceptance and everything is, one, to start applying early. You don't want to wait till the last minute to try to apply to schools like right before their deadline, because something always happens. Your high school never sends out your college transcripts in enough time, or you may have to tweak your personal statement. You never want to do anything too close to the deadline. You want to try to give yourself as much time to apply as possible, just so if something does go wrong, you still have an adequate amount of time to still get your stuff in and not be at the deadline or be past it. My second tip is to do as well in high school as you can. I know for a lot of people, high school is not the best time in their life. And for me, I did kind of slack off in high school because of a guy. So that's a third tip, is do not let significant others or, you know, whoever ruin your chances of getting in college. But do as best as you can in high school, just because, you know, you do want to get into the school that you want to get into. You don't want to have like a dream school in mind and not be able to get in because, you know, you didn't do good. I'm not saying you have to be a straight A student all 4 years of high school and take every AP class that there possibly is. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying the classes that you do take and whatever you do participate in, to be the best that you can be at it and always do your best, and that should be good enough. Another tip that I have in terms of writing your personal statement is to have a few people actually look over your personal statement. Don't just look over it yourself, because you kind of know how you type and write, and you're more than likely to miss mistakes. And then you pass it on to someone else, and they're more likely to catch those mistakes. And then if you give it to another person, they're more likely to catch more mistakes. It's not saying that you're a terrible writer. It's just saying that, you know, you did make some mistakes, and that's okay. I would say to at least have 3 people look at your personal statement and have them, you know, find errors if there are any, and then have you tweak it. You want your personal statement to be the best it can possibly be. Obviously, not everyone is perfect, so your personal statement may not be perfect, but you want it to be as perfect as it can be, because colleges do look at the way that you write, and they can tell if you just kind of threw something together at the last minute, or if you sat down and you thought about what you were going to say and you edited it, and you edited it more than once, and you didn't just type it out the first time and say, yeah, that's good enough, and just turn it into them. They do look at stuff like that, and trust me, they can tell if something is thought out or if something is just thrown together at the very last minute. Another tip that I have is to be reasonable in terms of applying to schools. Applying to college is not cheap. Most application fees, unless you can get them waived, are around the $40 to $50 range. So please be reasonable when you're applying to colleges. If you look at their incoming requirements and you know that you don't meet them, I don't want to say don't waste your money and apply, but kind of be smart about it. You know, if you know that there's, you know, a 95% chance that you won't get into that school, I don't want to be negative and tell you not to apply, but I also want you to save your money as well, because these schools are not cheap to apply to. And then you also have to get your transcript sent off, and you have to pay to send the personal statement off. And you know, it's just a lot of money that go into it. So I do want to say I don't want to be negative, but I also want you to be reasonable in terms of applying to schools, because you don't want to waste a ton of money. And if you just apply to every single school out there and you're not considering whether or not you can actually get in, then you're going to be wasting a lot of money. When applying to schools, also try to look at the amount of scholarships that you can get, because scholarships are very important. They take a lot of financial burden off of you. So I would, when, you know, picking a school, I would look at the amount of scholarships that they have available, and I would apply to those scholarships. I would apply to every single one that you qualify for, just because you never know. You can get all of them. Even if you get one of them, that's still some kind of burden that's lifted off of you or your parents or both of you. But I would say apply to every scholarship that you qualify for, and just kind of see which ones you get, you know, accepted for, basically, and then just kind of go from there. But don't think you're too good for scholarships, because those scholarships really do help. You don't have to pay them back. They're not like loans. And a lot of them you can keep getting, you know, each year or each semester. And they, like I said, they really do help. Even if it's a small $300 book scholarship, that is still something, because if you don't know, textbooks are very expensive. So $300 is something. It's better than nothing, I will tell you that. My last and final tip is to not get discouraged when you're doing this process. You may get accepted into every school you apply to. You may get rejected to every school but one. And you may get rejected to a few schools and get accepted into a few schools. But do not get discouraged. Do not let rejection letters define who you are. Just keep trying. Just keep applying to different schools until you get into the one that you really want to get into. And also have a list of schools, kind of like rankings, and apply to your top 10 schools. And whichever ones you get into, you know, obviously if they have your program and stuff like that, then I would say choose which school you want to go to based on that list, and, you know, financial reasons and your program and blah blah blah. You know, don't settle for a school unless you really never mind. Don't settle for a school ever. Go to the school that you want to go to, I will say that. But also just keep in mind that you may get rejection letters along this process, and that is okay. That doesn't mean you're a terrible person. That doesn't mean you're stupid. That doesn't mean you're dumb. That doesn't mean that you don't deserve to go to that school. It just means that you may have to work harder, even if that means you have to transfer into that school. You know, that's an option as well. So I would say do not get discouraged during this process, to keep your head up. Don't let these do not let these rejection letters define who you are. just know that it gets easier, it gets better, and once you get accepted into the schools that you want to go to, then you'll know that everything that you went through, every rejection letter and everything was worth it because you got into the school that you wanted to get into. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Also leave other back to school videos you guys would like to see down in the comments, and I will try to film all of them in my little humongous back to school series that I'm doing. And I know it seems a little early to do back to school videos, but school is going to come really quick, and I know some of these videos can actually help people who are just coming into college. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in my next video.